Big one then. Let's respond to the president of Blizzard. Yes.
Hello, Mike.
Yeah, Mike took to Twitter to say, so Season 4, some new ideas and approaches this late into an expansion. What do you like? What do you dislike? What would you want to change? And he tagged Holly, Jonathan Haidt, Ian, and Patrick Dawson for things. So, to talk about that then. Oh, interesting. Patrick Dawson is production director now. There you go. Holly's watching and listening. So let's talk about it. Overall, my impression of Season 4 is very positive thus far, basically. I started a character that already had done a tiny bit of, not progress, a tiny bit of prep on, so like just doing some campaign stuff. But overall, getting my renown up to 80 was utter piss. That was super easy.
Yeah.
Quickly getting a set of, was it 226 crafted gear and stuff like that?
233 crafted.
233, yeah.
And then 1262.
It was cheap. It was easy.
And then a 226 weapon.
Getting my first legendary was, I didn't want to go into Torghast, but it took basically no time.
Because I nuked it for you? Yeah.
Yeah, but I would, just running a few nines yourself, like on that character, would have been easy as well. Yep. So basically, starting a new character, really easy. Of course, swapping Covenants, having to level up another one would be like kind of frustrating and all that shit.
Yes.
But basically, for what I was doing, I didn't have to. So it was mostly a frictionless experience. There are some things that are just a bit confusing or arcane, like, you've got to go to your old main, go to Bonesmith Hymir, grab a bunch of things, throw it over to that character, and then you got the Cosmic Flux, and the Cosmic Flux things require certain different reputations with the Enlightened faction. Some things are BOA, some things aren't BOA. That's like all a bit, Blizzard have put in so many like accelerators into this expansion, but they are accelerators through the convoluted systems of this expansion, therefore it still is a mess. But I found it easy enough to get into. Playing Disc is awesome. I think Disc is a super fun spec. I've been really enjoying the dungeons. Upper Kara is just incredible. It's so cool. Lower Kara is obviously just a massive, big nostalgia blast. I really enjoy Lower Kara. I know a lot of people are very frustrated about Lower Kara. I do think that the runtime, whenever you wipe, is stupid.
Sure
it's very annoying. I wish that they had some checkpointing system, but then had a more aggressive timer. I think that would probably be a better solution there. I don't know, because the run just feels like boring downtime. And of course, our special Lower Kara from Hell.
Oh yes, our fun duo of DH and DK that decided to just not communicate whatsoever, go a completely different way, and stand there for ages while we cleared half the dungeon to get back to them. Because it was very difficult to say, hey, come this way. Or, hey, we're going to try something. It was literally like they died and they went a different route, and it wasn't even any faster. And we were just like, what the fuck are you doing, you
pricks?
You actual... God, please unsub. Please unsub.
Absolute. Yeah, so anyway, that was fun. But otherwise, no, it's been fun. So, right, Kara's both awesome. Blizzard did an incredible job with that dungeon. Tazelvesh, both of those are awesome. I fucking love Sola's Gambit. It's really cool. It's just cool as fuck. What else?
Every dungeon's pretty good.
Makagon. They're also both cool as fuck. I think outside less than Workshop.
Yeah, Junkyard fucking blows in some ways. It's like sometimes it's cool. There's some good ideas, but it is just like, why is this like this? I do say, like, for all my complaint about routing earlier, I do like that Junkyard does let you like have a big open area. But yeah.
Then for the final two, I really like Grimrail from a fantasy perspective.
Yeah.
I think that Grimrail suffers with certain affixes. Just because of the spacing.
Sanguine.
I think Blizzard...
Hello, Barrage.
Blizzard needs... They need a camera solution for dungeons where your camera can go and your camera itself will clip through items, and then you'll see yourself with an overlay through items. I think they need that for those indoor dungeons. That tech is fundamentally not hard to make whatsoever. They can make it happen. They really should. It should just be a quick flag as to whether something interacts with the camera or not. Yeah. I think if they do that, it would just, it would solve so many issues. They can still have all the LOS-based gameplay that they want. But anyway, so Grimrail, it's really awesome, but it has a few usability issues. Iron Docks, I think it's just... you know what? I've changed my mind slightly. Iron Docks is fun enough. I like the bosses. I like, it's just... it feels Warcrafty, the two dudes having their conversation and just, I don't know. That said, we did choose the 2 brown dungeons. The 2 brown orc dungeons.
I'm still tilted. Tilted
about that.
Yeah, it's like where was Skyreach, where was Auchindoun, where was SPG? Those are much more interesting dungeons than Iron Docks.
Iron Docks, Skyreach.
Yeah, I like as much as I think Iron Docks is cool, it's really boring. Like boss design wise, it's really boring.
Yeah.
The first guy is don't stand in fire arrows and stop hitting him. The second guy is what even is the second boss? Oh yeah, the council. Interrupt and dodge some stuff, or pull them all around the corner and kill them in 2 seconds because it's fortified. Or the Saberon is move when he jumps back, and then the last boss is don't get hit by the cannon barrage. There's like no mechanics that are like second's boss okay, but they're not really that good. Versus like Skyreach, where that's full of great bosses, or SPG where dodging their Zul. Yeah, that's because Skyreach is. That's because they have to turn on their brain.
Well, that's why it's good.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's awesome.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's a brilliant dungeon. It's one of I think Warlords of Draenor's dungeons were basically brilliant.
Most of them.
Yeah, I thought it was a really strong expansion from that perspective. Especially, I remember whenever the original Mythic Dungeon system came out in patch 6.2.3.
Yeah.
Those things really shone then. So as for some of the things, like neither of us have done Fated. I'm maybe doing a bit of Fated LFR just for the sake of getting some Cosmic Flux.
This is a great power of being a tank. You're like, do you want a raid? Yeah, well then start your own raid. Because every group has tanks for days. And you're like, fuck, God damn it. Please. Also when you've got an item level, it's not Giga. And you're like, hello, can I do a normal please? I'm 265. Like, no, go away. That's not 280. What? You're not fully heroic geared? Go away.
Yeah.
Like,
now, the one thing people are saying, we've said it. Here's Mr. GM saying it. Here's Groxy saying it. I'm sure many more people will say it again in the future.
yeah.
Old raids. Make them Fated.
Yeah.
Now, we were talking about this on our walk to Juice Jar. It was probably on our walk to Juice Jar to get lunch a day or two ago. And immediately, like, wouldn't it be so cool if there was a second raid every single season that, was an old one, Fated?
Yeah.
And because it'd be like, fuck, look how much content we can do. Oh, cool, so many bosses, awesome, fun. But then you immediately say, okay, now everyone feels like they're required to do 2 raids. So what you could do is you could have a second raid, make it Fated, and drop its item level down just a little bit. And then maybe people could, optionally do that to just get a whole bunch of loot. Now, you still do have some problems like powerful trinkets, to which your response at the time was, fix it then. Yeah. That's a problem, so tune the trinket down.
Fix it. Literally, like, the game is code and you have the code, just fix it.
Yeah, you have the power. You have the tools.
Yeah, you literally look at the number, go, there's the number, let's make the number smaller, please. Do that in the next week's hotfix, which we've seen they can do with Season 4. They can go, oh, that's a problem. I'm one of 4 people working on Season 4. I'll fix it. Like, oh, yeah, fixed. Sweet. Like, the idea that what they did to that Grimrail boss is like, what the... You fixed a problem? You saw a problem, you identified it, you went, that'll be fixed for the next week? That's unbelievable for Blizzard. Actually completely insane. Maybe I'm a little bit exaggerating there, but it is definitely like, why can't you do that with numbers? Well, is your class design team sitting with their thumbs firmly up their asses? Or what?
No, there's just 3 of them.
Yeah, so just go, right, okay, that trinket is definitely doing a little bit too much. Hey, sorry everyone, for everyone with this trinket, we'll refund you Valor or something, or give you some bonus Valor for like, kind of scuffing it, assuming Valor's uncapped. Could do that in a Capped Valor week, or a Capped Valor season, but hey, Valor's uncapped, and we'll give you like 400 Valor in replace for nerfing the item, sorry. Do what other games do, and just go, yeah, that was our bad, here's a slight apology, but we have to fix it because our game's health is more important than your feelings individually, people who went and farmed it. Especially if you do that within a week, then a lot of the time, if you're identifying these trends, you'll identify that like around the same time it starts to get big. And then here's an even fucking crazier thought.
Oh my god. This is big idea time.
This is
big think.
Absolutely unprecedented behavior. Say you start to see, as a developer, This trinket is overpowered. This trinket's seemingly too strong. People are going for it. There's a lot of stuff. You go, okay, well, let's run some tests internally. Shouldn't take more than 30 minutes, I imagine. That's definitely outperforming. Okay, Kyvax, here's the 200 words. You go post that in the forum right now. And the 200 words say something along the lines of, hey, this trinket is currently overperforming. We see you're all going to get it. We think this is a little bit too much compared to what we expect for what we want. So we're going to turn it down in the next week's hotfix. If you want to use it for the rest of this week, work away. But if you we're just letting you know because we are going to tune down next week.
Yeah.
And then people go, maybe I won't go farm it then because it'll be tuned down. Okay, sweet. There you go. Whole problem solved. An entire fucking category of problems solved. And all it takes is for one designer to have like the Google 20% rule of, you've got the whole thing about Google is that they have a 20% rule where engineers and like staff of I imagine mostly engineers have 20% of their week is to do whatever they think will help the company best, as opposed to any preordained or pre-programmed actual deadline stuff. It's like that's all worked in. Theoretically. And then that's like, the designers kind of need that to go, yeah, I've got some time on the Friday to tune this down and post this. So sorted. That would be very like, if I were John Haidt Orion, I would be like, within reason, this is what we need to do. 100%. Even if it's like, hey, one designer, your job is to make this game not shit for players.
And you'd be in a lot of trouble because you've talked a lot of shit about your colleagues on this podcast, Mr.
Yeah, of course, Mr.
Height to cost us.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, that's the idea. It would be very nice to have that freedom of someone go, oh yeah, here's fix. Yep, fix.
And like, just to think about the upside here.
Yeah.
I mean, fuck. There's so many good raids in this game.
Double the content. That's literally on the box. Fucking double the content.
And to so many people, it is that.
Yeah.
Right. Let's go and talk about some raids. Honestly, Cataclysm's a total blur for me. I remember enjoying BOT and the little bit of BOT and Blackwing Descent that I did at the time. But if we zoom ahead to Pandaria, okay, Shafir is maybe a wee bit too long.
Shafir had a wee bit scuff in it.
Had a wee bit of scuff. It had some cool things too.
Yeah.
I thought Mogushan was neat.
Alright, it's pretty good, yeah.
Throne of Thunder is one of the best instances they've ever made. Siege of Orgrimmar, not as
very good, I love,
but very, very good.
Actually, I take it back. I would hate doing Siege because every time I would do it as a tank. I would be an Iron Juggernaut, and I would look at the mines and go, I am no longer permitted to stand in those mines for more to get on top of the DPS meter. This game sucks. But I digress.
People may have forgotten about Vengeance, where the more damage you took, the more you dealt. And that encouraged some degenerate gameplay.
No, it didn't encourage degenerate gameplay. It encouraged extremely fun gameplay, where I'm like, I'm a blood DK. Can I take 90% of my health bar and survive and then be top of the DPS? Yes.
And by the standards of Blizzard, you're a degenerate.
Yeah, well, by most standards, I'm a degenerate. But generally, as long as you don't have the Throne of Thunder problem with bunks and Vengeance, I think you're okay to...
Yes, we had a bug where our monk killed Horadon in 2 seconds.
Yep.
And we were, our parse was at the top, region-wide. Yeah, that was funny. And then as you move on to WoD, I thought Heimdall was a banger raid.
I
thought, Brackenspore, I was playing SV at the time, so I was highly mobile, getting a jetpack or a flamethrower, going about it. I thought Brackenspore was really cool. Tactus.
Fuck you, Brackenspore was balls, but yes.
Tactus, big, crazy fucking fun boss. I liked Butcher, but that said, I was one of the two people who had something to do in Butcher, so I understand people not liking Butcher. Chrome Rock, you had the two bosses, the three was it the boss? Big ogre that you do before you fight the mage ogre with the bouncy balls, and then finally you've got the final boss, and I thought he was pretty cool. And then you move into Blackrock Foundry.
Yeah,
awesome. Blackrock Foundry is awesome. Hellfire Citadel, also from what I hear, is pretty damn sweet.
I did HFC on Heroic with Guild. It was very good.
Yeah,
it was very fun.
Fuck me. You then move into Legion. Awesome.
Absolute. They were Like, whatever they were smoking or drinking or eating over the course of Lego Legion development, they should absolutely get that in. I don't know if they just filled the office fridge with modafinil or something, but they should absolutely do it again.
Bro, I mean, for my little phase of being interested in nootropics,
Yeah.
I need to go to America and have some legal study drugs.
Yeah, those boys are absolutely just here, everyone. Don't eat breakfast. Take some yohimbe bark. Here's some modafinil. Just go the fuck to town. These are all completely legal and just basically speed. Work away.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, holy shit. And then, so Legion's just incredible. And to be fair to it,
Yeah.
I don't know what people thought about Gahoon and that and Uldir, but...
Fuck Uldir.
Okay,
Fuck Uldir to death and back.
Dazar'alor. At the time, people were saying that was one of
it.
the best raids Blizzard had ever
People
done.
loved that, yeah.
So Dazar'alor is an awesome raid. Eternal Palace, not super sure.
I liked most of it.
Okay,
I like
there we
most
go.
of it. I think Ashara was definitely like, hey, we've designed a boss for very, very smart guilds. And that's about it, I think, at least. Maybe it wasn't so true on Heroic. But it was definitely like Ashara is like a big brain. Big, like, I don't have the brain for this. Fuck, this is kind of awkward. But I think most people kind of enjoyed it enough, okay?
Yeah, and Ny'alotha, that's a weird one. I enjoyed Ny'alotha, but I think it fell to pieces towards the end, and N'Zoth was kind of lame. And then Nathria, really good. Sanctum, mixed. Sopho,
Sopho,
honestly, for
pretty
me,
good.
really good.
Pretty good.
I really enjoyed Sopho.
Yeah, I think oh my god, I can't remember the name of the boss. The one in the big room with the things with the holographs around the side. I didn't like that very much.
Oh, Regalon. No, not
No,
Regalon.
the
You're
other one,
Buildy dude, and the dudes come
Yeah,
to the thing, and the
Buildy
big
dude,
boom
yeah.
dude.
Buildy
You gotta burst the boom before it sploosh, and everyone die.
Yeah.
And then they nerfed it so that didn't.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like that anymore. Oh, the nerfs.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
Buildy Dude wasn't very good. I didn't like Jailer very much. I think it was good ideas, but the implementation was just a little bit off. But the rest was all really fun. And I think N'Zoth was pretty fun. Just because I enjoyed N'Zoth, I didn't say, yeah. I think N'Zoth was a bit, could have been a wee bit nicer, but it was like a really good concept I liked. I think some of the melee versus range problems in downstairs got a wee bit annoying. But generally, it was pretty fun.
All of this, I think, is to say that they generally make really strong raids.
Yeah.
And some sort of fated-like system for those would be great. In my opinion, I'm not sure about Kata, but absolutely everything Mop and beyond.
Yeah, I don't think we could do anything before Kata either.
Yeah, so anything before Kata, you could do if you did some design tweaks. And it would be the sort of thing, the only time you could do that, like, you need to get a bunch of fated raids set up and then work ahead on those because they would require design changes.
Just work backwards, starting at... Do you start at Shadowlands? Probably not.
Ooh,
You
no.
probably start BFA
I'd say
and
start
work
Mop
backwards.
or something. Ah, fuck it,
No,
anyway.
no, because you can't start Mop and then work forwards and then go back to Kata. You'd be like, what the...
confusing.
You'd go from, hey, the raid of this season is Ny'alotha. The raid next season is Firelands. And everyone goes, just their neck explodes with whiplash of just, Jesus fucking Christ. What the hell is it? What have I just zoned into, dear Lord?
Yeah, it's like if you thought that some spell effects needed hotfix for readability in Grimrail, then for some of those older things, yeah. Okay, some thoughts on the dungeon pool. Maybe some people thinking 8 is just a bit of an L. Okay,
I'm going to completely disagree.
I'm okay with 8.
Yeah,
but-
well, there is a very, very important part here, right? And this is all to do with how some players play the game versus how others play the game.
Yeah.
Where I definitely, like, I don't want it to take me fucking weeks to get Keystone Master. I want to be able to blast that shit out. I don't want to like, say, be a fortified week and it's like, oh, yeah, you have to do 10 dungeons this week, all of the individual dungeons, which requires either getting good luck with your key and it rolling or joining other ones, which is a pretty big downside a lot of the time. And you're like, well, 10 dungeons a week is like, you're talking, if you're reasonably efficient, you know, you're getting groups together, people are going to the bathroom between dungeons. You're looking at, what, say 30 minutes a dungeon. You're saying, what's that, like 5 hours a week of like super, like full go with luck. That's okay. But then you go, like, it's not about, you don't just do 10 dungeons and it's done. you have to do those iteratively at higher and higher key levels to get up there. Unless you have really good, unless you have really good gear and can just hop in right away from like the last season. But if you're doing like the progression the way it's designed, it is you're doing these repeatedly to get them, try again to get higher score and more items. And it just feels like it's a little bit too broad in terms of, you need to spend 5, 10, 15 hours a week depending on your item level to get that. And you're like, that feels a little bit much to me. I'd rather have a narrower pool of 8 basically feels perfect. I would like them to try 6. But people wouldn't like that. I would rather have 6 good dungeons, because one of the problems I have with too much variation is that you kind of don't get the small scale repeated kind of, I'm going back in there, going back in there, going back in there. It's kind of hard to get that feeling consistently. It's like the example of, it's maybe a bit different because of like how the champion pool is in League, but there's something about the not doing the exact same thing again, but doing the same thing, the same couple of things again. And I think that feels better with a smaller scale if you're limited on time. Obviously, you add more time, you can spread that out.
Yeah, I think.
But it's really hard for me to kind of explain this because I feel like I'm talking absolute fucking garbage.
No,
but I do have a point where,
I understand your point.
Yeah.
I think for a lot of people, you get to month 3 and it'll be like, it's the same 6 dungeons, I'm going to go insane.
See, that's where I will immediately admit that I would absolutely, with the sheer amount of video games about, I would not be profoundly interested in playing the same dungeons, same 6 or same 10 for a long time, because it is all the same process. And I'd rather have that as a choice for me to say, hey, you can do this whole process of KSM or whatever else, or gearing up. You can do that twice on different characters. I'd rather do that than do it once and it takes twice as long.
Well, I'd rather have that, and I think the game would be healthier at that. And it's kind of been closer to that in the past, maybe. I could be wrong on that. But I think, and hopefully Shadow or Dragonflight will do this, people playing maybe 2 characters and feeling like there's lots of different things they can do in the game. Yeah. I'm very much pro that. And it's interesting with the dungeon pool size, because I remember, didn't it used to be with Keystone Master? It was just time them all. Get a 15. Yeah. So Keystone Master, like you could bang that out in a week. But then they added the rating system.
It's fundamentally not that different. Outside of being split over 4 defined triangle.
Yeah, which then for a lot of people meant like that's more dungeons to do.
Yeah,
and then in this season, because they added the 2 Tazavesh wings, then the rate, there's more rating required. Yeah, and like in those times, I do remember people saying, "Hey, this is really a lot of stuff." Especially people talking about like, if they are like playing multiple characters and unlocking the different Valor upgrade levels and stuff. So it's interesting. And other than just going to preheat, the dinar system being too stingy. Because I think it's 30 bosses for your first dinar, 20 for your second, 10 for your third. So people were getting their first dinars in this reset, I think.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So I think that's fair. And I think generally speaking, perhaps a lot of players would prefer the idea of being able to finish their character faster than Blizzard currently feel comfortable with. And perhaps a lot of players are thinking that in a context where they'd like to play 2 characters, or maybe they like to finish gearing their character and just feel very satisfied that they've attained that goal, and they, maybe they come back later happier. So I'd agree with that. Soul talking about, pure raiders could use a quick path to gearing too. Adding upgrade tokens to all difficulties would up participation at every level and indirectly get more people helping each other out. Lack of world content makes a lot of people feel left behind. That's true. I mean, the only world content thing is the world boss will be faded. But I think Skarzard tweeted about this, basically saying that the Season 4 team was tiny.
Yeah.
Which, that Season 4 team was tiny, but I think they really have added a tremendous amount of value for their size.
I really hope they all get raises. They all need raises or fucking plaques with their names on it in the studio or something. Something crazy like that, because it is like, obviously they had to get the green light and bring this idea up, but I'm sure the whole team talked about it for a long time when thinking about the overall planning of it. But at the same time, it's like the implementation of Season 4 absolutely smashes the implementation of most other seasons since seasons began as a concept in World of Warcraft. And if it's a tiny team that does that, then you may have to start thinking, tiny team do more? Hang on. what if we fire half our staff?
Uh-oh.
But you know what I mean? It's like they have. So what about it made them able to do more stuff? What was it that kind of let them have this experiment and it actually work?
Yeah.
Should we let them experiment more? Should we maybe, in this case, I think I saw someone mention earlier, a lot of it would be red tape. So I feel like a lot of this is they went, hey, here's a couple of experienced dudes, a couple like the more newer kind of staff. You've got like a little task force team. And they've got maybe they've got like a lead who's, maybe they have to pass up stuff to like, say, Patrick Dawson and go, hey, is this all right? Can we do this? Is there no immediate objection to this? And that person's like got the responsibility of, let's not, if Skarsgård says something mental, don't let it do it. Which I can't imagine what happened anyway. But like that idea of just, the agility is what works. The lack of red tape is what works. That's why they get to go, fix it, redesign it, fix it, redesign it, whatever. What's his dinners? Yeah. It's like, I feel like I would love to see, basically, yeah, as Ebo says, just make compartmentalized teams with less oversight or more free reign. That is definitely like what seems to be working better for them in this capacity. And based on how some of Dragonflight Alpha is looking, it looks a little bit like they have granted a little bit more freedom to different teams. And are maybe thinking a little bit more free overall with dragon riding. They're like, yeah, put dragon riding in the dungeon. So I can imagine imagine all the conversations we had about that were had internally as well, such as people are going to mauled out like crazy over having to do press their buttons, and they went, fuck it, we'll give it a try.
Yeah.
There's nothing. There's something to lose, but there's more to gain. So it seems pretty nice. Super nice in that.
I'm really happy with what they've done. Like and I think we definitely felt we started to have more fun as soon as we hit like +8. Because I think it was a bit sleepy at like the +2s and 3s. But that was basically just, I literally needed to learn my buttons and develop a bit of muscle memory. But like we're having a blast. And I think maybe if you've been purely raiding super hardcore, it's like, okay, you're done with these places, you don't want to see them again. Whereas, because I was never really big into Mythic Plus, obviously the 2 WoD dungeons are new, but I hadn't done any Mythic Plus Tazavesh.
Yeah.
Or Mythic Plus Karazhan, or Mythic Plus Mechagon. So I think I'm in this really nice position where I log in, and honestly, this patch has just been so fun. And especially what I've noticed, like between Sola's Gambit and Workshop, fucking hell, the ends. Oh, and Upper Kara as well. Yeah. The ends of these mega dungeons are insane.
They're so good.
They're so fun.
Like you can see why like despite Legion being like the ground zero for a lot of the infections that are kind of hurting World of Warcraft a minute, like gameplay wise, you can see why I'm just like, fuck yeah, Legion was a fun experience.
Yeah.
Because doing Kara all the time was like, almost every single time you fall down that hole in Upper Kara, you're like, this is cool, this is fun. That's it. This is enjoyable. And there's a little bit of that soul that was kind of lost a little bit going through. Mechagon had some of it, Tazavesh had some of it still. But it's just still, honestly, really, really quite, it was just fun.
Shit slaps.
Started that comeback. So, like, I think, from my perspective, the way I see it is actually, I'm trying to put this exactly perfectly so it has some sort of impact. But I'm enjoying World of Warcraft despite there being still a laundry list of problems with it.
Yeah.
To the point where I am still like frustrated as hell whenever I play a lot of the time. But on the whole, when I reflect, I'm like, yes, that was fun. I did enjoy that. So much of that is down to like the gearing loop and how that works. Like loot still feels really slow to me. It still feels inconsistent. It feels like they're just kind of going for the random, the variable reward schema because it works. And I think it's frustrating because I kind of, this is interesting. I will have to delve.
So much worse luck than me.
I'll have to delve a little bit into behavioral psychology for this one, but like, there's the strength of feedback loops, right? Where they're for like conscious people and like people, especially there's a whole big thing about like mastery and like learning to get good at stuff and become an expert, but feedback's really important to, your behavior. So especially when you're putting effort in and trying, feedback, a positive feedback or, a little bit of negative feedback to correct mistakes, that's very important in the behavioral psychology world. But so is variable reward, which is basically no feedback.
Yeah.
Where the variable reward is you press a button, you have no idea when the reward's going to come. When it does come, your brain goes, oh, oh, nice, keep pressing. But the brain gets bored whenever it's the same reward. So theoretically, in the realm of behavioral psychology, you will enjoy Mythic Plus less if you get a bit of loot every run, or if you get a bit of loot every 2 runs. The way it is with 40% drop rate, it's like 40, 80, whatever. Say you maybe get 2 bits of loot every 5 runs or whatever.
Yeah,
that would be like the fixed scheduled reward scheme, and that would make people play less theoretically from behavioral psychology. But for me, because Mythic Plus is like, a lot of the time you are trying to race against the timer, you are trying to speed up. You do have that, I'm going to try a bit harder this time. I'm going to see how much damage I do. And that's kind of like the intrinsic motivation coming in. And when you have that intrinsic motivation, then the feedback of what you're doing and whether that's doing well or doing poorly, actually works there and like reinforces your will to do that. So if you're purely going for loot, Mythic Plus is good, basically.
Yeah.
Or should theoretically be good. But if you're going with the goal of having fun and getting better and like improving, then the variable reward scheme will push away that. Because if you're thinking about loot while you're trying, and then you're like, I did so well at dungeon, I think that was the best time we've done yet. I was completely in control, didn't get loot. The fucking lizard brain is going to be going, what is this? I don't understand. I'm really angry.
Yeah.
But like that's to me what's happening. And just a little bit to explain the feedback loop thing more. The score in Torghast, when that was added, why high scores exist in video games, it's for that. Because you get more score, you go, oh, I did well that time. I'll try again and do better this time.
Yeah.
And both of those are like really important behavioral psychology concepts. And I think for me specifically, Mythic Plus has always been on the end of they're using the wrong reward schema for how I play. Because I don't really care about plus 2 or plus 3 keys, because it's got no real benefit. I do like the feedback of, oh, I did well, oh, we plus 3, yes. But then I go, I have to go drop the key because it's pushed too high now. But I had to do that a couple times. So like that's pretty good. But the other thing I think I wanted to say is there's a little bit of people will play for different reasons. And now there's less frustration with Valor being uncapped, with the dungeons being like a little bit more fun, because I definitely prefer these dungeons to Shadowlands.
Yeah.
It's like there's a moving needle of how much fun versus how much frustration. That's how Warcraft has always kind of felt to me.
Totally.
Even back in the day, it's like, am I annoyed enough to not enjoy this?
I mean, the game's been dying for 20 years.
Yeah, so, and for most of Shadowlands, it's been very much, I'm way more frustrated than I am having fun. But now with the changes, that needle is ticked over a little bit. So I'm not chomping at the bit to go home and play. But when I do go home and I do have time, I usually do send him a message going, yo, M+. I was like, fuck it, yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Because I have the combination of a long-term goal. I have the combination of just enough reward, just enough kind of a little bit of the feedback loop. I'm having fun playing Prop Paladin, so I have more say on how a dungeon goes, as opposed to when I was Resto Druid. And I'm just like, I can out-heal anything that's happening, so it's everyone else in this dungeon is basically the problem here. Because it's like, if this Warlock's asleep, it doesn't matter if I DPS, I won't make up for that. So being a tank is kind of that thing of, yeah, that makes complete sense for... the needle has now moved over, and I'm like, hell yeah. Is this game still, like, objectively would I say this is still shit? In so many ways, yes. However, I also historically love shit games. I think that there are many games that are theoretically and objectively really quite stupid, and if you think, how did you make this? What went through your brain when you made this? Have you lost your marbles? There's so many games like that.
Yeah,
and the answer is whatever, it ended up being fun, so let's go. And there's like basically the whole Kusoge thing where I'm like, yeah, World of Warcraft is a Kusoge. It's a shit game, but it's fun regardless. And sometimes the badness or the weirdness, I should say weirdness, not badness, the weirdness of it actually plays into how fun it is sometimes because of how it works.
The weirdness is like, it's like, you're not saying, why did you design it like this, as if this is literally somebody sat down and designed the entire thing like this all at once. And it's more the game is like this bonsai tree that's just kept going and it's kept being clipped and like it's just ended up the way that it is. And I think, I don't know, it's like this weird, like games got honed in a weird direction. It's like, I think from my side of it, I do have a bit of a leg up over you that is purely just because I have not healed in many years.
Yeah, you've got a bunch of novelty to it.
I haven't done any of the, like, basically any of these dungeons in Mythic Plus before. So I have all of, basically everything Matt said, and then pumped full of novelty. So for me, it's like I'm in a new role in spec that since I saw its Legion design, I in principle thought it slapped, but I never got around to playing it.
Yeah.
And I'm playing what seemed to be just a collection of incredible dungeons. So for me, it's actually been extremely fun, and I am actively looking forward to the next time that I can go and play some Mythic Plus. Things feel meaningful in my character. I had the most insane experience as well. I came home, I looked at my character, looked at the transmog, thought, oh, it's just a set, though. So then I went onto the Transmog Reddit and I started looking up things. What am I going to do in my character? Then I went, and this is a fun little tidbit, I never got around to buying the Expedition Yak because I was always really thrifty. Yep. So I got myself the Yak, and I started thinking about, oh, okay, what mounts am I going to have? And I thought, well, I do have the Ahead of the Curve mount from Nyalothus. So, and then I actually wanted to get Shadow ready, so that I could get a mount to match Shadow and a Mog to match the mount that is also shadowy and voidy. And suddenly what actually happened is this cascade of intrinsic motivations happened. Yeah. And then even on my login screen, I saw my warrior, which it just has one of those PvP transmog ensembles. And I thought, oh, kind of looks badass. I'd like to level him up. So basically, removing the annoying, fictitious bullshit allowed me to enjoy the game that was there, and that reactivated my intrinsic motivation. Because I think about, so here, do you know what my experience of Conduits was? It was our guild quit raiding Sepulchre before we could really do heroic properly. And then I had stopped raiding like 2 or 3 weeks before that for personal reasons. So I had 10,000 Cosmic Flux sitting on my mage. So I immediately got all my conduits maxed out. So conduits, deleted. Yep. Doesn't exist anymore. I just do what the good automatic jack tells me to do. This is the original joke I had. You know, you fucking automatic jacks over there. I'm fucking manual Mike. I'm the old model. I don't really know what I'm doing, and you know, a bit rusty, and I definitely need a lot of WD-40. But like, you know, conduits didn't exist. In the past, if I wanted to care about my character, I had to do the fucking random conduit upgrade system. Why did you do that? Why? So, conduits, gone. Legendaries, significantly simplified and made cheaper. This is basically, the bullshit was gone, and that allowed me to have intrinsic motivation for WoW again. And I think, Blizz, that's the goddamn lesson. How many people are in my situation, but they are less, I don't know, they didn't come back. They didn't have that experience that reawakened their intrinsic motivation for the game. Right? Yeah. That's the thing. And I guess I think about Dragonflight, and as we sort of touched on today, it has so much more to do with the endgame world content and moving through those reps, because people think reps, renown. No, it's not like that at all. You know, so a level of renown with a rep in the new expansion, it's just a mini rep bar of 1,000 rep. It's just 30,000 rep. Just, you know, you do them 1,000 at a time, and you get a reward at the end of every 1,000. Or you unlock a new thing, a new power, a new quest line. There's actually narrative quests, by the way, that you get. Yeah, you unlock new chapters of the end game narrative for each of the 4 major factions as you increase your rep with them. So it's a way better system. So in a world where the game is not finger blasting me every second to play more with random conduits and all that bullshit, that's a version of the game where I actually feel like I can have some intrinsic motivation. Yeah. Which is to say, thank fuck that design philosophy that did all this shit recently. Thank fuck that's died, because goddamn did it not kill the game. I mean, per what Sana is saying. Sana? Kana? Yeah.
Kana is Kana.
No grinds is great. Sorry, THD. Yeah. Hey, THD, fuck you. Only joking. Love you. You're good crack. But
good crack, but also fucking cracked in the skull somewhere. Or just Zoomer, maybe.
Being mean to THD has just turned into a WoW Twitter sphere wide in-joke.
It's fun.
Thankfully, one the THD is in on. Yep. Because actually it's fun, right? THD is actively playing the role of the heel
Yeah, he
in
definitely
like
is.
the wrestling sense. So
100% is.
yeah, we're all having fun with it. But yeah, hey, right, DHD, I'm good to have some grinds in the game, just not in the way that they've been done recently. So yeah, I don't know, man. I just think it can reawaken that intrinsic motivation. I have experienced my intrinsic motivation literally wake up.
To a lesser extent, I've also had the same, and I think a lot of that might just actually be, biting the bullet and going, okay, maybe I am a prop paladin at heart. Maybe healing actually isn't for me. I enjoy it, but I clearly don't enjoy it in the same way I enjoy going, fuck's sake, I'll do it all myself. As I was saying to you, that's a little bit of a personality type thing of like, fuck, fine, I'll do it. Fuck, I'll do it. Shit.
Fucking big,
Oh, you fucking morons.
begrudging shonen paladin.
Yeah, full on. You're doing that wrong. I'll do it fine.
The only other thing then is people saying the world content feels abandoned, like Narissa of Wowhead and Centauri, who I don't know who. I only say I don't know who they are just because if I gave Narissa the flare, it feels bad not giving the other person the
this
flare.
literally who.
Yeah, but I do agree, right?
Yeah.
Like I like the M+ and raid structure, but disappointed that there's a lack of reward for the casual people. No eye level increase in the outdoor stuff, the professions, revival of the old raid or die mentality. It's like I agree with that. It feels like that. I think it's purely just a bandwidth issue. It's that sort of thing. Somebody working and making some new systems can create all of this content that we've seen without having to say, artists come over here, you people come over here,
Yeah.
But I think we all agree more of that would have been would have been nice. Cosmic
have to
Flux
hire more
stuff,
staff.
they probably could have done more with Cosmic Flux.
Honestly,
Probably could have done more with quite a lot of things.
give me 10x. Literally 10x Cosmic Flux, because I will have to grind so fucking hard to get that 10k. It's not even reasonable. Fully unreasonable.
But overall,
I have to do what did I work out to be? Hello, Fly. Something like 50 dungeons to get that thing. While I'm also getting Christian Catalyst here.
dude, just be like that core. He did 70 dungeons within 3 days.
No comment. No comment. That is a lifestyle choice. So it is.
All right, the Arise also wrote a few banger videos for us. Let's rocket through the rest of the news. Basically, TLDR, to go back to the whole, responding to Mike Ibarra's thing. Mike, they've done a great job, and there's a lot of potential here. And I think a lot of great lessons we can carry through to the rest of the game. I would just say, don't be too fearful. Don't be too defensive as we're moving into the new seasons of the game. I think that while I totally understand their justification for making the Cosmic Dinar system, I think something like that does have a place in the real game. Yeah. Same goes for the upgrade items that have been implemented for the raids as well. I think all those things have a real place. I think World of Warcraft should really just focus on more definitely rewarding you for doing shit in the game and encourage a reality where we can have multiple characters, we're doing loads of things in the world, and maybe the thing that you do is you do Mythic Plus on this character in this spec, maybe you raid in that spec, and just so the game feels very open and very, maybe accessible is not the word, maybe approachable is the more word. It just feels like there's a vast amount of shit you can just go do and you will feel like you'll make progress instead of a situation where you just get bad luck for a while.
And or have fun.
And or have fun.
Yes. Don't forget that.